morning, dear students. Juhi, Saurav, Harshal, Shruti, Ayushi, Anudipa, Palak, Pranati, Asmita, Krutuz, Achal, Rukshada, Anushree, Nandini, Riddhi, Kamlakant, Shivam, Nikhare. Good morning to all of you, dear students. Today we are going to continue two footprints without feet, and then good morning, Akanksha, Gungun, Manajay, Sumit. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so you see, um, here Griffin, the invisible man, arrived in the village. Which village? In a village which is known by the name of Iping. What is the purpose for which he has come to Iping? Iping is a village where Griffin has come in order to escape being caught by the people of the London city. So, in order to live lonely life and in order not to be caught by the police and the you know general people public, he has come to the village. Okay. On arriving the village of Iping, he has taken shelter in the house of Mrs. Hall. He has given advance payment to Mrs. Hall, right? And also at the same time informed her that the purpose for his visit to Iping is to live a life of solitude. Solitude means live a life in isolation, right? Live a life in isolation, to live a life of loneliness. I do not wish to be disturbed in my work, he further said to his landlady. And then he said, an accident has affected my face. So these are some of the reasons which he cited to Mrs. Hall for his arrival in Iping. And he also warns Mrs. Hall not to disturb him, right? So he has given three reasons. Let's go ahead with the text. Satisfied that her guest was an eccentric scientist, and in view of the fact that he had paid her in advance, Mrs. Hall was prepared to excuse his strange habits and irritable temper. Mrs. Hall somehow managed to ignore his faults, okay, and fault flaws, whatever Griffin was having, because of two reasons. Number one, she thought that he is an eccentric scientist. He is a kind of a mad scientist. Number one. Number two, she has been given payment in advance. That is why she was keeping quiet, right? Next, you see, but the stolen money did not last long, and presently Griffin had to admit that he had no more ready cash, right? Then he went to a clergyman's house to steal money. We have read this in the last class. Here you can see, but it was not as extraordinary as the behavior of Mrs. Hall's furniture legend later that morning. Okay. So when he was having shortage of money, what he did was he went to the house of a clergyman and stole some money from there. Okay, because he has fallen short of money now, right? That is why he had to steal one more house, okay, in order to have some ready cash. So which house has he chosen in the village? He has chosen the house of a clergyman, a churchman, okay, churchman, for stealing the money. So he has stolen the money. As he was invisible, a clergyman and his wife could not catch him red-handed. Okay, could not catch him red-handed, right? So just they just said it's a clergyman just said extraordinary affair because someone has robbed us, but we couldn't see him, right? Someone has robbed us, and we couldn't do anything. We couldn't see him. We couldn't discover. We couldn't find him. We couldn't trace him. So that is what his extraordinary affair is all about. Okay, now the next day something else happened. Okay, or later that morning, that same day only. Later in the morning, something something extraordinary happened. Okay, something more extraordinary happened. What is that? See, it was not as extraordinary as the behavior of Mrs. Hall's furniture a little later that morning. Furniture was, the furniture in the house of Mrs. Hall, where Griffin was residing, okay, living. In that room, furnitures were hanging in the air. That was something which was extraordinary and defied all kinds of logic. It defied all kinds of logic. Understood? Defied all kinds of logic. The landlord and his wife were the landlord and his wife were up very early and were surprised to see the scientist's door wide open. Usually it was shut and locked, and he was furious if anyone entered his room. The opportunity seemed too good to be missed. They peeped round the door, saw nobody, and decided to investigate. The bed clothes were cold, showing that the scientist must have been up for some time. And stranger still, the clothes and bandages that he always wore were lying about the room. Right. So, as you can see here, landlord and his wife got up early in the morning on that day and were very much surprised to see that scientist's door was wide open. Scientist here refers to, Griffin. It was wide open. Usually it was shut and locked, and he was furious if anyone entered his room. The opportunity seemed too good to be missed. They peeped around the door, saw nobody, and decided to investigate. And as soon as they peeped into the room, what they saw was something amazing. You see here, the bed clothes were cold, showing that the scientist must have been up for some time. And stranger still, the clothes and bandages that he always wore were lying about the room. What did they observe? They saw that bed clothes were cold. Scientist must have been somewhere not around, and clothes and bandages that he always wore were all lying about the room. All of a sudden, Mrs. Hall heard a sniff close to her ear. Sniff means a sound close to her ear. A moment later, the hat on the bedpost leapt up and dashed itself into her face. Then the bedroom chair became alive, springing into the air. It charged straight at her, legs foremost. As she and her husband turned away in terror, the extraordinary chair pushed them both out of the room and then appeared to slam and lock the door after them. So, as you can see here, both both Mr. and Mrs. Hall were having some unusual experience in the Invisibles Man. As they sneaked into the room, they could find that bedroom chair became alive. It was springing in the air. Bedroom chair was springing in the air, right? And it charged straight at her. It hit her, Mrs. Hall, with the legs. As she and her husband turned away in terror, the extraordinary chair pushed them both out of the room. Can you imagine? The chair pushed them out of the room. Mrs. Hall almost fell down the stairs in hysterics. It is something which is miraculous. It is something which is supernatural. That is why she became hysterics, and she just she just lay unconscious. She was convinced that the room was haunted by spirits and that the stranger had somehow caused this to enter into her furniture. Right. So she was convinced that the room was haunted by spirits and that that spirit has also got shifted into her furniture. That is the reason why she was so much frightened by the chair. Right. So then you see, my poor mother used to sit in that chair, she moaned, to think it should rise up against me now. To think it should rise up against me now. The feeling among the neighbors was that the trouble was caused by witchcraft. And when the news spread in the neighborhood, the neighbors thought that the trouble was caused by witchcraft. But witchcraft or not, witchcraft you understand now, that black magic and all, okay? So like Harry Potter, you might have seen witchcraft and all this, okay? Supernatural elements, okay? Black magic and all that. When news of the burglary at the clergyman's home became known, the strange scientist was strongly suspected of having had a hand in it. Suspicion grew even stronger when he suddenly produced some ready cash, though he had admitted not long before that he had no money. The village constable was secretly sent for. Instead of waiting for the constable, Mrs. Hall went to the scientist who had somehow mysteriously appeared from his empty bedroom. I want to know. See here, the village constable was secretly sent for. Instead of waiting for the constable, Mrs. Hall went to the scientist. Instead of waiting for the constable, Mrs. Hall went to the scientist, right? Who had somehow mysteriously appeared from his empty bedroom. I want to know what you have been doing to my chair upstairs, she demanded. And I want to know how it is you came out of an empty room and how you entered a locked room. Okay. So she was also not able to understand the logic as to how the invisible man came out of the empty room and how he could enter a locked room. Okay, so it was beyond her, imagination. So she was asking the invisible man to give her the reason why it's all happening and how it's all happening. You see here, Mr. Hall, Mrs. Hall, and here invisible man, police is after him. The scientist was always quick tempered. Now he became furious. You don't understand who or what I am, he shouted. Very well, I will show you. Suddenly he threw up bandages, whiskers, spectacles, and even nose. It took him only a minute to do this. The horrified people in the bar found themselves staring at a headless man. Right. The horrified people in the bar found themselves staring at a headless man because she had a bar, okay, inn you can say, and he used to stay close to the attached to the bar, or you can say attached to the inn. So therefore, other people also became and came to know about this, and they were all horrified. To see that headless man, invisible man. You can see the people, okay, were looking at him in suspense, in awe, in fright, in terror, right? Then you see Mr. Jaffers, the constable, now arrived. See Mr. Jaffers. He is Mr. Jaffers. You can see here. He is Mr. Jaffers. Mr. Jaffers, the constable, now arrived and was quite surprised to find that he had to arrest a man without a head. But Jaffers was not easily prevented from doing his duty. If a magistrate's warrant ordered a person's arrest, then that person had to be arrested with or without his head. Okay, so Jaffers was not easily prevented from doing his duty. Magistrate's warrant ordered a person's arrest. Okay, if magistrate had ordered an arrest warranty, then nobody can stop it. So Mr. Jaffers had to come. That the person had to be arrested, whether he's having had or not. So the magistrate has given the instruction to arrest the invisible man. That is why Mr. Jaffers, even though he also became surprised to find that he had to arrest a person having no head, but then he said within in his mind that doesn't matter, even if a man is headless or not, doesn't matter, provided we got orders from magistrate to or we got warrant from magistrate to arrest a person. Therefore, he had to arrest the invisible man. Let's find out whether he was able to arrest or catch him red-handed, because invisible man is invisible. Okay. There followed a remarkable scene as the policeman tried to get hold of a man who was becoming more and more invisible as he threw off one garment after another. Okay, so he is getting transparent now. So, as when if he is having the clothes on his body, then he cannot become transparent, right? So that is why he wanted to make himself transparent. As a result of which, he was trying to take off his clothes so that he becomes more and more transparent, as a result more invisible to the police, okay, who was trying to catch him. Okay, then finally a shot flew into the air and the constable found himself struggling with someone he could not see at all. Some people tried to help him, but found themselves hit by blows that seemed to come from nowhere. In the end, Jeffers was knocked unconscious as he made a last attempt to hold on to the unseen scientist. There were nervous, excited cries of hold him, but this was easier said than done. Griffin had shaken himself free, and no one knew where to lay hands on him. And no one knew because he has become totally transparent. It was very difficult for people to kind of touch him, to catch him, to arrest him. So Jeffers, the police constable, was just knocked unconscious by the invisible man, by Griffin, right? Other people also tried to catch him, but it was not possible for them to catch him, right? So Griffin had his day. He let himself free from the clutches of other people and the police. They could not catch him because no one knew where to lay hands on him, right? So that's about it, dear students. If you want to know more about this, how did he become invisible? What are the antisocial activities that he was involved into after becoming invisible? You need to read. You need to read the whole novel of H.G. Wells. The name of the novel is The Invisible Man. Okay, the name of the novel is Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. He was a fiction writer. He was a science fiction writer, H.G. Wells, who was a doctor by profession and very famous science fiction writer. So, if you'd like to know the complete story of the Invisible Man, that is Griffin here, you need to study. You need to study it. Okay, you need to study the whole novel, right? The name of the novel is Invisible Man by written by H.G. Wells, right? So, dear students, please do read that book. It's available online free of cost. As well as if you want the hard copy, you can order it from Amazon, okay? Flipkart. In these two stores, you will find this book. The name of the book is not Footprints Without Feet, mind you. The name of the book is Invisible Man by the Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. Or if you want to know the story in just 3 hours or 2 hours, you can refer to always refer to the YouTube by the name The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells. So you can search today, you can watch this film, The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells, on YouTube, right? So, dear students, that's about it. Have a nice day. Keep updating your notebook. And on Monday, I'm going to teach you English for competitive exams. Monday and Tuesday, I shall teach you out of the box, not anything related to syllabus, okay? Because we have made a lot of progress with the syllabus so far, right? So whatever has been taught, you please update your notebook from the website, and we shall study English for comparative exams on Monday and Tuesday. Your knowledge of English language will be tested. Practical knowledge of the English language will be tested, right, on Monday and Tuesday. So, dear students, thank you so much for testing me your presence to me. Thank you so much, and please do watch The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells on YouTube. Okay, you shall definitely like it, and it's very important. It's a science fiction. It's definitely important for you to know what's happening in the story. Okay, thank you, bye bye, and have a nice day.